Welcome to the final part of our four-part lesson on writing equations from word problems. The learning target again is I can write an equation using a variable to represent an unknown quantity. Now let's look at the last problem we're going to go over together. That is Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone is 309 pages long. If Mrs. Saul plans to read 18 pages per day, how many days will it take her to finish the book? So let's start by deciding on an operation. Now you might be thinking that you could use multiplication for this problem, and that is true, but I'm going to use division because I know how many pages I start with, and that way I can divide that number by another number. Let's decide on our variable. What is it that we don't know in this problem? What is the unknown? And in this case, the unknown is D, which represents the number of days it's going to take to finish the book. The next thing we need to look at are our constants. What numbers do we know? Well, in this case, I know 309 pages and I know 18 pages per day. So 309 is the number of pages in the book. 18 is the number of pages read per day. The final step is deciding on the equation. Now, this part is the part that could be the trickiest part. It's the trickiest part because division problems, division equations with algebra are always the most challenging to write, I've found. But the one that I wrote is 309 divided by 18 equals D. And the reason why I wrote that equation is because there are 309 pages in a book, and I've already decided that I'm going to read 18 pages per day. So I'm going to take the 309, I'm going to divide it by 18 pages per day, and I'm going to get D. Now, there are other equations you could write that would represent this problem. I think that the two division equations really are the best ones here. 309 divided by 18 equals D, or 309 divided by D, which is the number of days to finish the book, equals 18. Either of those are really correct. And the last two equations, the two multiplication equations, are also correct. You're taking 18, you're multiplying it by the number of days, and you should get 309, or D times 18 equals 309. Now, if you were using a calculator to find this answer, to find out what D is equal to, you are going to get a decimal number, and it's 17.16666, and the sixes repeat. That means that Mrs. Saul is going to need a little bit more than 17 days to read the book, which is why the multiplication problems are a little bit trickier to look at because it's hard to decide what you need to multiply that by. And in order to find the variable, you're probably going to use division anyway. But the answer to this would be 18 days because 17 days wouldn't be quite enough. She needs a little bit more on the 18th day. But again, we don't worry as much about solving for the variable in these equations. We're just focusing on writing the equations with the variable. So either of the division equations I feel are the best answers, but the multiplication divisions aren't incorrect. So thank you for watching these videos. Hopefully this gave you some insight into how to write equations from word problems, and we will continue to work on this.